and took Srila Narayan Maharaj's lota. Why did she take it? The Ganges is very dear to Sri Krishna, and she therefore thought, he has come to do bhajan under the guidance of the Gurudev. Why should he keep any attachment from his previous village? She thus mercifully took the lota away. So when we went to meet Prapuja Charan Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj in Jagannath Puri and another time in Mayapur, Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj asked Srila Maharaj, do you remember your lota? Once when you went to take bath with me, your lota was taken away by Ganges. Srila Maharaj began to smile and said, oh yes, yes. And he shared so many remembrances of how he used to serve him. So this lota actually was taken away by the Ganges. During our discussions in those days, he used to tell me some things about his life history. His name was previously Pramod Bhushan. His parents were religious and from Brahman Chakravarti caste. Chakravartis are Brahmana. Chakravarti, Bhattacharya, Bandhopadhyay, like this. He took birth on October 8, 1898 in the village of Ganganandapura in the district of Jessore, in the present-day Bangladesh. From his very childhood, he was fond of Hari Kirtan. He felt so much pleasure in hearing Hari Kirtan that sometimes he would become forgetful of his bodily condition. During his student life, he met a Gaudiya Vaishnava named Shri Bhakti Ratnagar Thakur. Shri Bhakti Ratnagar Thakur was the first person to introduce him to the books of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So you see that he met Bhakti Ratnagar Thakur. Maybe he's a disciple of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, or maybe, but he was Bhakti Ratnagar Thakur. After receiving the books, he studied them thoroughly, and then he began to read Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita in the association of that Vaishnava. After completing his BSc degree at Kolkata University, he wanted to continue his education, but the burden of maintaining his family fell on his shoulders. He unwillingly left his studies and accepted employment at the Post Commission in Calcutta. It was during that period that he met Jagat Guru Nityala Prabhishtam Vishnupad Shri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada and was deeply influenced by hearing his powerful Harikatha. In 1923, on the auspicious occasion of Shri Krishna Janmashtami, he received Diksha from Srila Prabhupada at Ulta Danga Gaudiya Math, and was given the name Shri Pranavananda Brahmachari. Pranava means Omkar. Omkarananda or Pranavananda, same name. Srila Prabhupada was immensely satisfied with his steadiness, full surrender, loving service endowed with bhava, and especially his art of living, art of writing. Therefore, he was given the responsibility to manage Sankirtan, preaching, Harikatha, Brihad Mridanga, the Dainik Nadiya Prakash. Dainik Nadiya Prakash means the daily newspaper they used to publish. Every day we read so much news. All over the world, so many newspapers are being published. This material world is Ekapat Vibhuti. But there is actually, you'll see the Statesman, there is New York Times, Times of India, Indian Express, there is also Lok Satta, Lokmat. So many newspapers are published in from state like Maharashtra, where I belong to. In Tirupati also so many newspapers are published. Why not we have any daily Vaishnava newspaper, which is published daily? Maybe an online version also, no harm, understand? So it will have Vaishnava news, understand? Harikatha. So anyways, and the writings of the articles of Shri Gaudiya Matha's journals. For the service of the Brihad Mridanga, he stayed at different places such as Kolkata, Krishnanagar, and Mayapur. Now, Brihad Mridanga, the book publication is called Brihad Mridanga. You might have seen a Mridanga. Mridanga is made of leather and clay. But actually, this is actually called clay mridanga. This clay mridanga is also very good, but the sound can be heard only for short distance. So you can see here the clay mridanga. That is, but there is also Brihat Mridanga is the books of Srila Bhaktivedanta Sai Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, Acharyas. These books are actually Brihat Mridanga. And this Brihat Mridanga can go everywhere. And that's why it is very, very important is service to this Brihat Mridanga. We have to distribute these books everywhere. And there is also living Mridanga. Acharya is a living Mridanga, Jivanta Mridanga. So for the service of the Brihat Mridanga, he stayed at different places such as Kolkata, Krishnanagar, and Mayapur. For the sake of preaching Gauravani, the message of Gaurasundar, he traveled not only throughout Bengal, but also to so many different places throughout India. And he made with great success. He sometimes traveled with Srila Prabhupada and sometimes with the senior intimate sannyas disciples of Srila Prabhupada. In this way, he served his Gurudev by internal Manovishta Seva, fulfilling his innermost cherished desires. After the disappearance of Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj stayed for a few months with my beloved Guru Pad Padma, Sri Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj. Srila Bhaktivedanta Madhav Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj, and other god brothers. I had a wonderful opportunity to serve him and hear his Harikatha during that period. He had so much affection for me that he used to consider me his disciple. And I used to respect him as I respected my Gurudev. On numerous occasions, he blessed me with abundant kindness. Once, when we went at Chinchura Gaudiya Mutt, we went together for bathing in the Ganga. I was carrying his cloth and water pot, and also my own lota cup that I still had from my Purvashram, previous home life. I put them down on the ghat, and we both entered the water of Bhagavati Bhagirathi for bathing. After bathing, I found that my lota was gone. It had been carried away by the waves of the Ganga, which was very near the ocean at that place. Prabhuji Charan Puri Maharaj smiled and said, "You left your home, family, wife, son, wealth to become an Akinjan Vaishnav. So what need is there to be attached to a lota?" I was also smiling, taking his wet clothes and water pot. We returned to the mud. As long as he was present, every time we met, he used to remind me of this pastime. I also cannot forget the mercy he showed to me throughout my life. After a long time, Prabhuji Charan Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj was given the responsibility of serving the deity of Sri Ananta Vasudeva at Kalna. The king of Vardhaman was unable to serve this deity. When he observed the pure disposition and devotion of Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj, he was immensely impressed and offered the service of Ananta Vasudeva to him. Later he took charge of temple along with his disciples. I also went to have his darshan there many times in Kalna. So Kalna is the place of Gauridas Pandit, Ambika Kalna. Yeah, we also, yesterday also we discussed Kalna. So Ananta Vasudeva deity is there. There's a temple there. And this is actually now the very wonderful deities are also there actually. And I'm seeing here that there is Bhaktivinoda Bodhayan Maharaj. He went there actually. I'll forward the link. Because after Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj, being the Acharya of that month, he is now the in charge. So, I always saw him busy in writing. His pen never stopped. He used to spend every moment in writing articles about Shuddha Bhakti. Whenever a chance came after completing his fixed number of rounds of Harinam, serving the deity, and studying the Shastras. He also used to submit many articles to the journals of different Gaudiya Mathas. Especially, he was the editor-in-chief of Sri Chaitanya Vani, the journal of Srila Bhaktivedanta Madhav Goswami Maharaj Matha. In the last years of his life, he stayed in Sri Dham Mayapur, where he established Sri Gopinath Gaudiya Math at Ishodhyan. In the last stage of his life, he stayed at Bankim Mohal, Chakratirtha at Sri Purushottam Dham. Chakratirtha is our Srila Gurudev also. You see that there is a great coincidence that Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj entered into Nitya Leela on November 22nd, 1999 at 2:07 a.m. So just after midnight. So 2 o'clock in the night, he left the world and entered into the eternal abode of Radha Krishna. And Srila Gurudev also went to the spiritual world from Chakratirtha only. Means the temple, the place where Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj went back to Godhead, that place is very close, just a few meters away from where Srila Gurudev also left the world. That is actually a great coincidence. And both of them, they chose the same place to leave the world. Understand? So it's a holy Tirtha. Chakratirtha is already holy, but it became even holier because the two great acharyas, they enacted their disappearance pastime at Chakratirtha. Whenever I used to go to Sridham Vrindavan, Sridham Mayapur or Kolkata, I had a good fortune to have darshan of his lotus feet. At that time, I used to present to him whatever new publications we had produced from our matha in the Hindi language, such as Jaiva Dharma, Chaitanya Shikshamrut, the teachings of Shriman Mahaprabhu, Srila Vishwanath Thakur's Bindu. Bindu means Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Bindu, summary study of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Kiran, Ujjwal Neelamani Kiran. Ujjwal Neelamani is a great book by Srila Rupa Goswami, but not many people understand Sanskrit. So the condensed version of that is Ujjwal Neelamani Kiran. And Kana means Bhagavatamrita Kana. So, describing different incarnations of Bhagwan. Upadeshamrut, Manashiksha, Raghavartma Chandrika, and also some English publications. He was delighted to receive all these books from me, and in return he inspired and instructed me to publish more books of Gaudiya Vaishnava Siddhanta. Whenever we would meet, he would ask, what new publications are coming in Hindi? He was present to pacify us at the time of our beloved Gurudev entered into Nitya Leela, and also when the Samadhi Mandir was established at Shri Devananda Gaudiya Math. During his visit, he told us with a melting heart, Vinod Da. Da means Dada, elder brother. Vinod Da, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj was very affectionate to us. Whenever we knew that Vinod Da was not in Mayapur, we would also cancel our scheduled program to visit Mayapur. He said that there was no one as warmly affectionate as Vinod Da. So Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj was fully surrendered and one of the internal associates of Srila Prabhupada. At the time of performing Kirtan, giving lectures, he would close his eyes, which were brimming with tears, being incessantly immersed in the bhava of bhakti. He would express such deep realizations while discussing Bhakti Tattva and Rasa Tattva that his whole audience would be enchanted. He was the embodiment of Sriman Mahaprabhu's verse, Trunadapi Sunichena. He was a Parama Bhagavata and Gunagrahi, deeply appreciative of others' merit. Until this very day, I never saw him criticize anyone. He even used to give inspiration and respect to this insignificant person who is thoroughly bereft of bhakti. I always saw him walking with his danda, traveling barefoot in Navadip Dham and 84 crores Brajamandal Parikrama. Even in his advanced age, I saw him doing parikrama without eating and drinking, always singing kirtans and speaking Harikatha. I went to see him almost 1 month and 15 days prior to his divine disappearance. At that time, he was not speaking at all, and he kept his eyes closed. I caught hold of his lotus feet and said, I am your most insignificant servant, Narayan Maharaj. Upon hearing this, he caught both of my hands in his and gave me his blessings. Then he ordered his servants to give me prasadam. I do not know if he spoke to anyone else again after that moment. He entered into Nitya Lila at the age of 101 years. He was expert in all Siddhanta and a pure devotee in the line of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada. And I felt so much inspiration from his blessings and instructions. Now, after his entrance into the divine Apragat Leela, I am bereft of the touch of that hand which is to confer upon me profuse blessings and inspiration. And thus I feel a profound sadness in his absence. In this way, I am offering Shri Shri Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of such a Parama Nishkinchana Mahabhagavat. Shri Shri Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj. Nishkinchan means without any material possessions, or Krishna is his only possession. May he be pleased to shower his causeless mercy upon me, Vaishnava Krupa Lesh Prarthi Trilandi Swami Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Maharaj. The mantra received from Shri Srimad Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj. Now, this is actually an article by Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj, was also very exalted Vaishnava. And receiving mantras replete with priceless teachings. Srila Maharaj used to say, although I received my Diksha mantras from my Guru Pad Padma, means Srila Vitala Prishtam Vishnu Pashi Srimad Bhaktivedanta Madhav Goswami Maharaj, I received various mantras from the many disciples of Srila Prabhupada. In other words, I received mantras in the form of many teachings from them. Among those, we are presenting a few mantras here. From the very words of Srila Maharaj. The tranquility experienced only at the lotus feet of exalted Vaishnavas. Busily engaged in the service of Guru and Vaishnavas, I did not have the slightest inkling as to how to 24 years passed by before Guru Maharaj devised his unmanifest pastime, Aprakat Leela. Thereafter, Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj became my guardian. He would guide us on how to conduct ourselves, what we should do, what is appropriate and what is not, etc. Only at his lotus feet or in his shelter I would experience tranquility, nowhere else. The mantra received from Sri Srimad Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj. One, Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj was ecstatically singing in front of Sri Jagannath chariot. Seita Parana Nath Painu Jaha Lagi Madana Dahane Jurigenu Seita Parana Nath Painu. Now I had gained the Lord of my life, in the absence of whom I was being burned by Cupid and was withering away. There was a bag hanging from his shoulder in which he would carry a kirtan book, bead bag, and other small miscellaneous items. Just as one pickpocket, sighting an opportunity, reached into Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj's bag, my godbrother Sri Narayan Kapoor caught that pickpocket's hand and began to loudly proclaim with great pride, I have caught the pickpocket. I have caught the pickpocket. Repeating this over and over again, he somehow managed to get the attention of Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj, who chastised him. Money will come and go. Whoever wants it may take it. But can this mood that has now awakened be attained at all times? Sri Narayan Kapoor then said to me, I was only doing a good deed. I cannot understand why Maharaj chastised me in return. Although Shri Narayan Kapoor could not comprehend Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj's response, I accepted the essence of his words in the form of a mantra. When spontaneous bhava arises for Bhagavan, all things become inferior in comparison. Once under the guidance of Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj, I went to Shri Srimad Bhakti Saurabh Bhakti Sar Goswami Maharaj Mutt in Mayapur to attend a deity installation festival. While honoring Prasad, Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj made me sit next to him. Srila Bhakti Saurabh Bhakti Sar Goswami Maharaj, with his own hands, served parboiled processed rice onto Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj's plate. And because I was seated next to Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj, he served that same rice onto my plate as well. In spite of being my Guru Varga, neither Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj nor myself had ever accepted parboiled rice in our entire life. Reading my state of mind, Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj said, everything offered by a Vaishnava is nirgun or transcendental. And he began to honor the rice prasad. Following Srila Prabhupada's precept, I also honored the rice prasad. And from that day on, I accepted the words of Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj as a mantra and abided by them throughout my life. Once my godbrother, Sri Vishnu Prabhu, and I were seated with Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj at Kolkata station in a train bound for Jagannath Puri. Upon noticing us, one very affluent Grastha Vaishnava approached and began to heavily chastise Sri Vishnu Prabhu. Later, taking a large sum of donation in his hand, he offered it to Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj, who responded by saying, you have committed an offense to Vaishnava. What to speak of accepting anything from you? I don't wish to even speak or have any relationship with you. That affluent person said, Maharaj, I wish to serve you. Please accept my offering. Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj retorted, if I accept anything offered by you, then I will have to share the result of the offense you have committed. Therefore, I shall not accept anything from you. Despite his many endeavors, Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj did not accept anything from him. I noted those words of Srila Puri Goswami Maharaj as a mantra. By accepting anything offered by an offender, one has to share the result of his offense. Since then, I have followed this principle throughout my life. So you see that many important teachings are there in this one. How careful he was. So, Tirandi Swami Bhakti Puri Goswami Maharaj appeared on October 8, 1898. During the auspicious hour of Brahma Muhurta, means he appeared in Brahma Muhurta, that is like 1 hour 36 minutes before the sunrise. Along with the study of Sanskrit, Pramod Bhushan was engaged in worshipping family deities of Shri Radha Gopinath. His reverent service mood was evident even as a young man. Once he forgot to cover the Lord with a blanket on a winter night. That night he shivered uncontrollably with chills and fever. The Lord appeared in a dream and showed him that he was without his blanket. The young Pramod Bhushan woke up, and only after he covered the Lord did the fever subside. Pramod Bhushan completed his education in Jessore and then went to Calcutta, where he attended Bangabasi College. Graduating with honors in chemistry, in 1917 he met his guru, Prabhupada Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. From the first meeting, an eternal bond was made. Shri Pramod Bhushan accepted Prabhupada in his heart as his eternal master. His strong attachment to spiritual life brought him regularly to his guru's lectures at the Calcutta ashram of Shri Gaudiya Math. In 1923, on the holy occasion of Shri Krishna Janmashtami, he surrendered at Shri Guru's lotus feet and simultaneously took Harinam and Brahmin initiations. He became known as Shri Pranamananda Brahmachari a full-fledged member of Sri Gaudiya Math. Sri Pranavananda's service attitude was so exemplary that soon Prabhupada Srila Saraswati Thakur established him as the editor of Gaudiya Math publications. Pranavananda Brahmachari synopsized Srila Saraswati Thakur's lectures, elaborated on them, and with Prabhupada's approval, they were published in various periodicals, including the only daily spiritual newspaper Dainik Nadia Prakash. In recognition of his scholarship, Saraswati Thakur honored him with the title Shri Pranavananda Brahmachari Mahopadeshak. Pranta Vidyalankar, Pratna Vidyalankar. Srila Puri Maharaj served in close association with his guru for 13 years. Srila Prabhupada requested that Shri Pranavananda Brahmachari accept Tirandi sannyas, humbly considering himself unfit, he declined. At the time of Prabhupada's Aprakat Leela, Shri Pranavananda Brahmachari held his guru's lotus feet to his chest so that they might remain forever enthroned in his heart. After Srila Prabhupada's disappearance, Shri Pranavananda Brahmachari Mahopadeshak Pratta Vidyalankar began extensive traveling and preaching. In 1942, Srila Prabhupada Saraswati Thakur appeared in a dream and gave him his divine order that Shri Pranavananda accept Tirandi sannyas. Sannyas initiation and the danda were given by his godbrother Srila Bhakti Gaurav Vaikhanas Maharaj in Champahati. Shishi Gaur Gadadhar temple. For more than 7 years, Tirandi Swami Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj served as the head pujari and temple president of Shri Shri Yoga Peeth, the birthplace of Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Discovered by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, during that time, the deities were internally urging him to take up scriptural research and deeper meditation. He moved to a humble cottage on the banks of the Ganga in Kalna, living with his beloved deities of Shri Shri Radha Gopinath. During that time, the king of Burdwan, a district of West Bengal, was extremely impressed with his saintly character, and on the appearance day of Shri Radhika, 1958, he offered his large temple to Srila Puri Maharaj. He engaged in service at that temple for several years. Later, his godbrother Srila Bhaktivedanta Madhav Goswami Maharaj requested that Guru Maharaj come to his mutt to edit spiritual periodicals and books. Guru Maharaj entrusted the temple in Kalna to his younger brother and went to Calcutta to take up his new service. Additionally, His Holiness Om Vishnupad Tirandi Swami Srila Bhaktivedanta Madhav Goswami Maharaj requested him that he take full charge of his monthly magazine, Shri Chaitanya Vani, as president of the editorial board. He also became editor-in-chief of the monthly magazine, Shri Gaudiya, published from Shri Chaitanya Math Mayapur. At the age of 100, Shri Puri Maharaj continues to fulfill this role with great care and devotion. So actually, this is an introduction. There are many teachings actually. And there is one book he has written in that chapter 11 of that book. Is talking about Diksha Mantra and the Holy Name. On Sunday, the 3rd of December 1967, an intriguing news item appeared in the Anand Bazar Patrika, an important Calcutta newspaper. The headline read, "Miracles still happening today." The story had been sent in on the previous day by a staff reporter from Alipur Dwar, who wrote, "The youngest son of Kulup Chandra Das of Chekmari area of Madari Hut was bitten by a snake. Many Ayurvedic doctors and exorcists were called in to no avail. Finally, an allopathic doctor came and declared the poisoned child to be dead. Even so, his parents wanted to see if there was some last chance at saving their son. They had heard of a small community of exorcists or ozas who lived near the village of Bogribari Hatta, located between Kolkata and Jateshwar, who apparently knew how to cure snake bites. One of the ozas came to check money, and after chanting a spell over three small shells, he sent them off to find a snake that had bitten the child. Under the effects of the spell, the snake came out of its hiding place and slithered into Kulukda's home. The three shells that the Oza had recited his incantation over were stuck to the snake's head, back, and tail. For an entire day and night, the snake sucked the poison out of the body of Kulubda's son from the same spot where it had bitten him. Then suddenly the child's body rose from the dead. Thousands of people witnessed this event. The reporter did not mention when all this took place, but this is not the only incident of its kind. The amazing power of such mantras or spells can still be seen today working in different areas of life. In my home village of Ganganandapur in Jessore district, there was a leather worker named Haripad Muchi. He was a very good Oza who also knew how to cure snake bites by incantations of this sort. He once told me, unless one has complete faith in the Guru and the mantra he has given, he will never directly experience its potency. There are numerous spells that work against ghostly possession or snake bite. Even though these spells may be in a vulgar dialect and call on the power of some lower god, they are still seen to remarkably be effective. If such mantras are seen to produce results, then we should inquire into the reason why the powerful mantras of 6, 8, 10, 12, 18, or 32 syllables, sanctified by the presence of the seed syllable, Bija mantra, and the words of surrender, Swaha or Nama, do not reveal their innate potencies even when they have come down in a pure disciplic succession. Perhaps we should consider the leather worker from Ganganandapur's insight, for he has clearly divined the reason for our failure. The potency of Vishnu mantras. The Supreme Lord's Shaktavesh avatar, Vedavyas, hinted at the same thing many centuries ago in his Padma Purana. Arche Vishnu Shiladhir Gurushu Naramatir Vaishnave Jati Buddhir Vishnurva Vaishnavanam Kalimal Matane Pada Tirthe Amba Buddhi Shri Vishnu Namni Mantre Sakala Kalushahe Shabda Samanya Buddhir Vishnu Sarveshwareshe Taditar Samadhiryasya Naraki Sa. Who thinks the deity in the temple to be made of wood or stone, who thinks of the spiritual master in the disciplic succession as an ordinary man, who thinks of Vaishnava of the infallible Lord's own clan, belongs to a certain caste or creed, who thinks of Charanamrut or Ganges water as ordinary water, who considers the mantra composed of the names of the Lord, which destroy all sins, to be a set of ordinary words, and who considers the Supreme Lord of all Lords, Vishnu, to be equal to an ordinary human being, is taken to be a resident of hell. Any mantra which reveals the sweetness of the Supreme Lord as manifest in Vrindavan is to be considered superior, because this form is superior to all other forms of the Lord, such as the one he reveals in Dwarka. The 18 syllable mantra named Sammohan is precisely such a mantra. Indeed, It is considered to be the king of all mantras. The Hari Bhakti Vilas has cited many scriptures, including the Gopal Tapani Upanishad, the Trailokya Sammohan Tantra, and the Sanat Kumar Kalpa, all of which attest to the super excellence of this mantra. The Bhagavad states that all the different portions and plenary portions of the Lord emanate from Krishna, who is the Supreme Lord Himself. Therefore, just as Krishna is clearly the Supreme Person above all the other manifestations of the Godhead, so too is His mantra supreme above all the mantras. Since Krishna's Leela in Vrindavan, with its qualities of sweetness and munificence, is superior to the Lord's other pastimes, the mantra that contains that Leela and reveals it, namely the 18th syllable mantra, Gopal mantra, is supreme among them all. In the Trailokya Sammohan Tantra, Mahadev himself glorifies this mantra to his consort, Bhagavati Devi. Yatha Chintamani Sreshto, Yatha Gauscha Yatha Sati, Yatha Dvijo Yatha Ganga, Tatha So Mantra Uttamam. Yathavat Akhila Sreshtham, Yatha Shastram Tu Vaishnavam, Yatha Samskrita Vani, Tatha So Mantra Uttamam. Ato Maya Sureshani, Pratyaham Japyate Mano, Naitena Sadrusha Kashit, Jagati Asmin Charachare. Just as the philosopher's stone is the best of all jewels, just as the cow is the best of all beasts, just as Sati is the best among women, chaste woman is best among women, just as the Brahmin is the best of human beings, just as the Ganges is the best among rivers, so too is this mantra the best of all mantras. Just as the Vaishnava scriptures are the best among all spiritual teachings, and just as the Sanskrit is supreme among all languages, so too is this the best of all mantras. Therefore, a queen of the goddesses, I daily chant this mantra. There is nothing like this, nothing like it in the entire universe. Hari Bhakti Vilas, first chapter, 185 and 186, two verses. The Hari Bhakti Vilas also quote the Sanat Kumar Kalpa, which says, by the grace of this mantra, Indra easily attained his position as king of the demigods. Due to his bad luck, Indra was cursed by Durvasa, but again through the power of this mantra, he was reinstated to his position. Hari Bhakti Vilas 1.190, 191. It is so powerful that it does not depend on Purush Charan or any other kind of customary ritual performance to enhance it. Simply by reciting mantra, one can attain the desired result. Bahuna kim yuhoktena purasharana sadhanai vinapi japa matrena labate sarvam ipsitam. What is the use of all these instructions? Simply by chanting this mantra, even without the strict restrictions of the Purashcharana Vrata, one can obtain everything one wishes. Sanat Kumar Kalpa, quoted in Hari Bhakti Vilas 1.192. Purashcharana. Ordinarily, there are various purifying procedures, sanskaras, that are prescribed before an initiation in order to purify the mantra and fully invest it with power. According to Hari Bhakti Vilas, these are 10 in number: Janana, Jivana, Tadana, Rodhana, Abhisheka, Vimalikarana, Apyayana, Tarpana, Deepana, Gopana. However, Krishna mantras in general are so powerful that there is no necessity of these sanskaras. Balitvat Krishna mantranam sanskara apekshanam nahi. Hari Bhakti Vilas 1.235. Even though such sanskaras are deemed unnecessary, the Hari Bhakti Vilas does give an extensive description of the Purashcharan observance in its 17th chapter or Vilas. Purashcharan is defined as follows in Agastya Samhita. Puja Traikaliki Nityam Japastarpanamev cha Homa Brahmana Bhuktischa Purashcharamuchyate. There are 5 aspects to the Purashcharan observance. Puja 3 times a day, constant chanting of japa, oblations of water, daily fire sacrifice, and feeding the Brahmins. Hari Bhakti Vilas, 17.11. According to these directions, one should surrender to the Guru, to Gauranga, and to Radha Krishna, performing a puja with the 16 ingredients, then taking the permission of the spiritual master at the auspicious moment, one should start reciting the mantra. There is a specific mantra that the devotee should utter as a commitment to completing the vow. अद्याष्ट अद्याष्टदशाक्षर सम्मोहन मंत्रस्य सिद्धिकाम यत् सांख्य जप तद दशांशमुक्रद्रव्य होम तद दशांशमुख तर्पण तद दशांशांश ब्राह्मण भोजनात्मक पुरश्चरणम करिष्ये. Starting today, I will perform a Purashcharan for the sake of achieving perfection in the 18-syllable Sammohan mantra. Each day, I will chant a specified number of mantras. I will offer 1/10 of that many oblations of object to be specified into the fire sacrifice. I will perform 1/10 that many oblations of holy water and will feed 1/10 of that number of Brahmins. In other words, if one decides to chant mantra 20,000 times, that began to chant 20,000 times Gopal mantra, then you have to give 2,000 oblations into the fire, sacrificial fire. Then 200 oblations of water made, and then feed 20 Brahmanas. If you chant 20,000 times Sammohan mantra, then you have to give 2,000 oblations and 200 oblations of water. 20 Brahmins have to be fed. To perform such an elaborate ceremony in full consciousness is not easily accomplished by people in this age, in this day and age, whose minds are flickering. In view of this, the Hari Bhakti Vilas has provided a shorter version of the Purashcharan based on the faithful service to the Guru. This section of Hari Bhakti Vilas is reproduced here for the special attention of the sadhaka. The shorter version of Purashcharan. Tato mantra prasiddhartham gurum sambhujyato shet evam cha mantra siddhi syat devata cha prasidati. In order to achieve the perfection of the mantra, one should satisfy the Guru with appropriate acts of worship. By doing so, not only will one achieve the goal of perfecting the mantra, but the deity will also be pleased with him. Hari Bhakti Vilas, 17th chapter, 238 verse. Athava devata rupam gurum dhyatva pratoshet tasya chhayanusari syat bhakti yuktena chetasa guru moolam idam sarvam tasman nityam gurum bhajet purashcharana hinopi mantri siddhirna samshaya. Alternatively, one should satisfy the Guru by meditating on him as the form of the deity. One should think of oneself as devotedly following the Guru like a shadow. One should constantly worship the Guru, who is the basis of all of one's spiritual activities. Even if one does not perform the Purashcharan, one can attain perfection in chanting the mantra through service to Guru. Of this, there can be no doubt. Yatha siddharasa sparshat tam brahmavati kanchana sannidhanat guroreva shishyo vishnumayo bhave. For as it is said, just as copper becomes gold to the touch of specially treated mercury, so the disciple takes on the qualities of Vishnu through the association of his Guru. Hari Bhakti Vilas, 17th chapter, 241 and 243. In his commentary on Hari Bhakti Vilas, 17.241, Sanatana Goswami further states, simply through the grace of the spiritual master, the perfection of Purashcharan can be achieved. Kevala Shri Guru Prasadenaiva Purashcharana Siddhi Syat. According to the Hari Bhakti Vilas, One should chant the mantra after worshipping the deity with puja 3 times a day. Failing that, one should do it twice a day, or at least once. If the sadhaka lives in the same village as the guru, he should go daily to pay homage to him. One should always associate with the devotees, etc. Yasya deve cha mantre cha guru trishvapi nischala na vyavachhidyate buddhis tasya siddhir adurata मंत्रात्मा देवता ज्ञेया देवता गुरु रूपिणी तेषां भेदो न कर्तव्यो यदिच्छेदिष्टमात्मनाम्. One is not far from perfection if his intelligence is fixed unwaveringly in the deity, the mantra, and the guru. The soul of the mantra is the deity. The deity is manifest in the form of the guru. One should not make a distinction between these three if he wishes to obtain the heart's desire. Haribhakti Vilas, 17th chapter, 65 and 66 verses. In the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is similarly stated that one obtains the grace of the Lord through faithful and devoted service to the Guru. Krishna said the same thing to his friend Sudama Vipra. Nahamijja prajatibhyam tapasopashamen cha तुष्ययम सर्वभूतात्मा guru shushrushaya yatha. I, the soul of all beings, am not as pleased by the performance of the prescribed duties of the 4 ashramas, that is, sacrifices for brahmanas, service to the family, austerities and renunciation, as I am by services to the Guru. So 4 ashramas, they have different goals, but Bhagavan is pleased by service alone. Even though we have obtained such a powerful mantra from Sri Gurudev, due to our lack of steadfastness and mercy from the spiritual master, we are not able to pursue the great potency that lies dormant within the mantra. We saw from the newspaper story earlier in this chapter that even a non-Brahmin who did not follow the fundamental regulatory principles of spiritual life was still able to recite a mantra with such potency that the 3 shells attacked the snake's body and brought it out of a dense jungle, forcing it to return to the house where it had bitten the child, and then made it counteract its own bite. Should then those who have received the mantra in a pure disciplic succession be unable to pursue the power which lies within it? Of course not. Devotion has the power to attract Sri Krishna himself. By the grace of Krishna's internal potency, Srimati Radharani, one can directly experience the Lord's statement. Through devotion alone, one can know me. Bhaktyaham ekaya grahya, bhaktyamam abhijanati. The distinction between the mantra and the holy name. In his instructions to Prakashananda Saraswati, Mahaprabhu made the following distinction between the mantra, the initiation mantra, and the holy name, also called the Maha Mantra. Krishna mantra haite have sansara mochan. Krishna nama haite pabe Krishnera charan. By chanting the Krishna mantra, one will be liberated from material existence, and by chanting Krishna's name, one will attain his lotus feet. This world is based on the principle of accepting and rejecting sense objects. One who fixes his mind on the mantra is liberated from such entanglement. Then, by chanting the holy names in Sankirtan, one obtains direct service to the Lord's lotus feet. Krishna Nama Mahamantre Eita Swabhav Je Jape Tara Krishna Upajaya Bhav. The nature of the Maha Mantra of Krishna's names is such that whoever chants it develops feeling for Krishna. Chaitanya Charitamrita 1.7.83. Krishna namer phala prema sarva shastre koi. All scriptures say that the fruit of chanting the holy names is to develop love for Krishna. So actually, I compiled all the articles and books of Srila Bhakti Puri Goswami Maharaj in a PDF format. Please you send message to Vishakha Didi, she will forward that to you. So it is actually about 1400 pages in larger font, 16 font, but it's so easier to read for everyone. We can read that. You wanna please read this, and very very important. How to avoid Vaishnava Parad, how to develop attachment to Guru Vaishnavas. He was very expert in deity installation also. I think the deity is in Rup Sanatan Gaudiya Math. They were also installed by him. In any Gaudiya Math, there is deity installation. Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj used to visit, and he used to do the deity installation. So Srila Gurudev also requested him. So I offer my Shraddha Pushpanjali at his lotus feet, that may he shower his causeless mercy on us and help us develop Guru Nishtha and avoid Vaishnava Parad and develop Shuddha Bhakti in this very lifetime. I pray to the lotus feet of Srila Bhakti Puri Goswami Maharaj, and thank you very much for attending this online class. If you have any comments or questions, please ask me. Hare Krishna, Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna, Gurudev.
Hare Bol, Hare Bol.
Yeah, I just wanted to. I just have a question, but it's not related to the topic or today's class.
Okay.
The question is that if we are performing or doing Ekadasi, or is it required to do other fasting also?
Like all the Vaishnavas fast you have to do, like the appearance day of Vaman Dev, appearance day of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu. Those fast you have to do. Yes. But like Ganesh Chaturthi or Pradosh Vrata, Somvar, Monday, these vratas are not required. Means the fast which are meant for satisfying the demigods, they are not required. But Vishnu Tattva, Ram Navami, Gaur Purnima, Krishna Janmashtami, Baldev Purnima, uh, these are very much recommended. Mahashivratri is required once in a year. Mahashivratri. Advait Saptami, Advait Acharya's appearance day. Nityananda Trayodasi, Nityananda Prabhu's appearance day. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance day. So these fasts are recommended. But other fasts, they are not required. They are not
Uh,
required actually.
Uh, okay, Gurudev, as you have mentioned right now, I used to perform all the other fasting related to Vaishnava and related to what are there in the we have to perform. But apart from that, if in our families, if someone ask us to do other fasting also like jitya and other things, to how to impress them or convince them that we can't do all these things, everything will be fine with the only ekadasi and other Vaishnava fasting.
Yeah, yeah. There is actually it's a very tricky issue because their in-laws will be asking you. Like for example, in India there is one Vrata called Karwa Chauth. Karwa Chauth. Karwa Chauth means like all the women who are married, they will shut puja. For a husband's sake, they will have to do Karwa Chauth. And you're a married woman, and if you don't do Karwa Chauth, in then they'll say think very bad of that. Karwa Chauth is like the woman. They will look the image of the moon in the mirror and all that. This one actually, I'll show you the picture I see. Is a chest lady. She's married and she's seeing the picture of the moon in the uh, mirror so that her husband will live a long life. Now it's unimaginable that women in Bihar or North India not do Karwa Chauth. Or for example, if the married woman, if you don't fast on Vata Savitri day, you heard the story of Savitri and Satyavan, right?
Yes,
Savitri's
Guru, yes.
husband, Savitri's husband was supposed to die very early, but she tricked her Yamaraj and got her husband released. Although Yamaraj snatched away the soul of her husband, but by tricking Yamaraj, she brought back because of her chastity. And she got many boons for her father-in-law and for her husband also. So just woman like Savitri. So what a Savitri fast also many Maharashtrian women do. I remember in my childhood, my mother also used to do. But then there is actually two things really that is will be clarified in Jaiva Dharma. There is Naimittik Vrata and there is Nitya Vrata. Nitya Dharma and Naimittik Dharma. So many things we do, they fall in Naimittik Dharma. Means because you are married and you are having a husband and you are from certain part of India like Orissa or Bengal, or then because of that reason, nimitta, that cause, you are supposed to do some fast. But
Okay, Guru.
Ekadashi fast, Ramnavami, these fasts are actually nitya, nitya dharma means your eternal, irrespective of where you are born, what gender you are, what age group you are, what economic status you are, what ashrama, what dharma. It's for all living entities. Uh, Even so much so that even animals I have seen doing Ekadashi.
Mm-hmm.
So you see that this Nitya Dharma. So if there are enforcing fasting upon you, then you can do it. But then maybe
Okay.
night time you can take some Anukalpa and then do it for them. Actually, I was reading in Chaturmasya book, which I am compiling, that they were telling that during Chaturmasya, you are supposed to fast every alternate day. It's quite, I think it's very good for me. I'm 100 kilos. By the time Chaturmasya is finished, I'll be 60 kilos, if I follow that. So there are scriptures tell so many things. But we have to see our bodily condition also. Ekadashi itself is, some people find it very difficult. But Ekadashi, at least we do with some fruit or something. Like Sripad Dandi Maharaj told, if you cannot do Nirjala, then at least take some fruit or some potatoes or something. Srila Gurudev also permitted that. If you cannot handle the hunger, like that. So we have to do it trickily so that our in-laws are also not unhappy with us. And also we have to balance. Woman means she has to balance everything, spiritual life and material life. We are living in a society, understand. Generally speaking, you have to do Shraddha also.
Yes,
Shraddha
Gurudev.
means, Shraddha you'll have to do, otherwise they'll be angry with you. For Vaishnavas, we don't believe in that Shraddha, but for family, we'll have to do the Shraddha. So we'll do it, but not have faith in that so much. Understand?
Okay.
Externally doing it, but not having faith. So, like if you have to do fast to just satisfy the in-laws or relatives, do it, but don't have faith in it that it will give you anything substantial. Understand? Know it
Yes,
that it
Gurudev.
is only for the satisfaction of relatives. I am doing that, but have faith in Ekadashi only. Understand?
Yes.
Yeah. Externally, you have to do some formalities like this.
Uh-huh.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Gurudev.
Hari Bol.
And Pranam.
Anyone else has any other question? Hari Bol. All right. So I thank all of you, and some devotees sent some donation for paying the electricity bill at Ranganath Gaudiya Math. I thank them from the core of my heart. And those who want to also help, they can talk to Vishakha Didi. She will guide you how to donate. Some electricity bill was pending, so it will help us. So that we have 300 cows in Ranganath Gaudiya Math. Sripad Dandi Maharaj is in charge, and actually, I was seeing a video yesterday of lumpy skin disease, which is spreading in India. This disease also came in Ranganath Gaudiya Math, but Sripad Dandi Maharaj, expert management of the situation, saved our cows from this actually, and Hare Krishna. This is a very ghastly disease, and and we see the pictures. that all over the body, actually, you see that the cows develop so many sores all over the body, and cow will lose the word within couple days. So some devotee also gave me a pattern to tie around the neck of the cow, and Sripad Dandi Maharaj also told some medicines and all, but it's a very, um, it's heart wrenching condition actually, lumpy skin disease. All right, any question? I think someone raised the hand. Please answer the question. Um,
Hare Krishna Dandavat Pranams. Gopinath Prabhu had his hand raised.
okay. Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Beautiful. So, Jai Jai, Hare Krishna. Any question, Gopinath Prabhu? Hare Krishna. Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Didi, you also raised your hand. I'm not sure if it was by mistake. Gopinath Prabhu?
Actually,
By mistake, I raised.
Okay, no problem.
Actually, I was Sripad Bhaktivedanta Siddhanti Maharaj also once gave a class because he's the disciple of Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj. And he told one remembrance that how once a scorpion had entered the shoe of Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj, and he was going to attend a class in Kolkata, in Gaudiya Math, to attend his class. And when he reached the class, his shoe was full of blood. The scorpion was completely stinging the foot of Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj. But he was completely oblivious, means he was not even, feeling anything. He was simply meditating on what Srila Prabhupada spoke yesterday. He was so deeply pondering upon what Srila Prabhupada spoke that he didn't feel the stings of the scorpion. They didn't hurt him. That was his level of absorption. Then his godbrothers, then I saw his bloody. So he saw his shoe full of blood. Then he actually. Then they realized. Then he started feeling the pain, but not until then. So this Didi is asking question that yes, you can send to Canara Bank, or there is from the Western country. I think there is personal account number of Sripad Dandi Maharaj and State Bank of India. I will send that message to you, to Vishaka Didi and to you. Yes.
Sorry, yes. International devotees, we're using Dilip Damodar Prabhu's bank account for international. So that's why Didi current one, yeah. So Gurudev's one is just your local India group, and then the international we're gonna use Damodar Prabhu's.
Yeah, Damodar Prabhu's, yes. So Vishaka Didi will guide you. Yes, no problem. So thank you. So Vishaka Didi will guide you. So the Maharaj was very much focused on his yesterday's meditation on the Katha. So the scorpion sting was not hurting him. Another wonderful memory of Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj is that actually he was once, he asked Prabhupada that you have given me so much seva and you also told me to chant 1 lakh holy name. You told me to chant 1 lakh holy name. So how will I balance? Because so much seva is there. Then Prabhupada asked him that how much you sleep. Then he said, I sleep 4 hours a year. 4 hours in a day I sleep. And rest of the time I am either eating or chanting. Then Prabhupada said that if you are finding it difficult to chant 1 lakh holy name, so don't have to reduce your service of editing the books and magazines. You simply have to cut down in your sleep. Now you sleep only 2.5 hours. But don't compromise on chanting 1 lakh holy name. So that was Prabhupada's reply. So Bhakti Vedanta Siddhanti Maharaj also told this in the Katha. I remember that once he gave class in our Govardhan Girdhari Gaudiya in Kartik. And also, Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj was an expert singer. He was a radio singer. He was a radio singer. And when his bhajans were broadcast on the Kolkata broadcasting station, radio station, then all the devotees used to gather near the radio set because there was maybe not many radio sets. Radio set was very rare those days, and they used to all gather, maybe neighbors' radio set, and they used to listen to the bhajans of Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj. He was a very expert singer, means like a radio quality singer. So actually, there is one website, bvml.org. I'll send the link to Vishaka Didi. This website was created by Puru Prabhu, who disappeared from this world. But I met in New York when I wanted to go to see Shri Gurudev. There was Gurudev's festival in Lake Washington. So I knew Puru Prabhu from ISKCON. So I told Puru Prabhu that I had to go and attend Gurudev's festival, but I have no money to travel. He gave me $20 donation. And he said, "Oh, you have to return it, but I'm giving it to you." Very merciful personality. But he created this website, and that one, there was an article called "Chanting a Lakh Names." Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj is a very straightforward way is telling. We attempt to speak about Krishna, but what can we really say? We memorize a few verses and recite them like a parrot. And that is the extent of our glorification of the Lord. Where is our inner feeling? Everyone goes around talking about Raga Bhakti. But where is that spontaneous feeling that is the meaning of Raga? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told us to follow some simple rules. The rule of Vaidhi Bhakti. He said to chant the holy name, to chant a lakh every day. This happened in Puri when all the Brahmanas were there, started to invite him to accept dinner at their home. So Mahaprabhu answered that he only ate at the houses of millionaires, which in Bengali is Lakapati. All the Brahmanas were disappointed to hear Mahaprabhu saying this because they were all very poor. Then Mahaprabhu laughed and said, "You know what I mean by a Lakapati? I mean someone who chants 100,000 holy names every day." The Brahmanas were immediately relieved and said, "Is there anyone more merciful than you? You devise strategies like this to get us to chant the holy name. Of course, we'll chant a lakh every day, but please accept our invitation." Srila Prabhupada also told us to chant a lakh every day. Lakh means 100,000. Many of our God brothers went to him and said, "But Prabhupada, we have to do so much service. How can we chant a lakh every day?" Prabhupada never said, "Just chant as much as you can. That is enough." He said, "Make the time. Somehow or other, find a time." I heard him say this myself. But we don't. We can't find the time to chant. This is the extent of our capacity to do bhajan. And yet we still think that we can talk about Raga Bhakti. All these Western devotees who come to us hear about something called Raga Bhakti and immediately think that they understand everything there is to know about it, but they really know nothing about the qualifications that are needed to attend Raga Bhakti. They don't understand. That is why I have spoken about these matters from the Srimad Bhagavatam. So, at the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, the following statements were made. Shruvatam sukatha Krishna punya shravana kirtana rudyantu stoya bhadrani vidunoti srutsata. Hearing and speaking about Lord Krishna is a most pure activity. For as you engage in such activities, the Lord Himself enters your heart and destroys all the causes of inauspiciousness that are obstacles to your spiritual life. This is how Krishna acts as a friend to the pious. So he is actually stressing this, and then he's also many things he has told about Gaur Nitai also he told. And this very wonderful article also here. I'll follow the link. If one offenselessly chants Krishna's name even once, then Krishna will liberate him from material bondage. However, a person may be well versed in all the Vedas, But if he still maintains an offensive attitude towards the Vaishnavas, he is eternally doomed. Is it any surprise? So then what we often hear people say, although I have been chanting for years, I have no taste. Srila Prabhupada writes in the Gaudiya Bhashya, when one stops his offenses against the Vaishnavas and utters Krishna's name even once, he easily receives the Supreme Lord's grace. Criticizing the sadhu is the same as criticizing the lotus feet of Sri Guru, and that is an offense against the Supreme Lord. Generally, degrading to the level of Bhagavad Ninda, an offender of the Supreme Lord is not only deprived of receiving prema, but due to his namaparad, he does not even come anywhere near achieving the benefits of religion, wealth, and material enjoyment. So therefore, we have to be very careful. So we have to avoid namaparad. So, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, if we surrender to Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, all our previous offenses are instantly absolved. Then the merciful holy name showers us with divine love. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur writes, Krishna and Gauranga are their names, and their names are their very selves. To consider Krishna inferior or less generous than Gauranga is ignorance. But the fact is, Gauranga and Nityananda are especially helpful to the fallen souls in achieving the goal of life. The more the jivas become fallen, the more merciful the Lord becomes. Gauranga and Nityananda are the ultimate manifestations of divine kindness, and within that kindness is found the sweetness of Krishna's pastimes. Krishna's generosity is confined to the liberated, the perfected yogis, and those who have already taken shelter of him, Gauranga Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, on the other hand, are so kind and generous that they take the most unqualified souls, free them from the offenses that come of the selfish enjoyment mentality, and after liberating them, give them a place at the lotus feet of Gaur Krishna. Nevertheless, the worship of Gauranga does not exclude the worship of Krishna, nor does it mean exclusively worshipping Mahaprabhu without seeing him in terms of Shri Radha Krishna. That kind of so-called devotion is fictitious and is devoid of even a drop of the divine nectar of Krishna Prem. Mahaprabhu never tolerated Vaishnava Prad. Ramchandra Puri, Devananda Pandit and others are vivid examples of this truth. Even Mother Sachi had to beg forgiveness from Advaita Acharya before the Lord would bless her with prema. So actually, these very nice articles are there. So please, I'll send the links. Please read them. I thank you so much for hearing this Harikatha, and all glories to Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj, all glories to Srila Gurudev, Nitila Purushottam Vishnupada, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, Sripad Bhaktivedanta Dandi Maharaj, Sripad Anirudh Prabhuji, Sripad Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj, all glories to all of you. Hare Krishna, Vanchakal Patarabhasya Kripas, Paridanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Ram. Dandavat. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, all glories to Sripad Bhaktivedanta Vishnu Deity Maharaj Ki Jai.
Dandavat. Hare Bol.
Any questions, dear devotees, before we finish?
Is anyone doing Navratra? Anyone doing Navratra? Maybe some people. Now in India, a lot of people are doing Navratra, 9 days fasting with just honey and lemon juice. Prime Minister Modi is also doing. But actually, this is Navratra is actually Ramchandra's Navratra. Srila Gurudev used to say. 5th October is Vijayadashmi, one of the great days to start a new endeavor. It is also the appearance day of Madhvacharya. 5th October, Wednesday. Yeah. And then on 6th October, some mathas is Ekadashi, Pashankusha or Papankusha Ekadashi. And some mathas will start Kartik on that occasion. 7th October is Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, Srila Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami's disappearance day. The 9th October is Sri Krishna's Shardiya Rasayatra. Raslila will start. And that is also the disappearance day of Srila Murari Gupta, who was Hanuman, and also presently Swami Shishwar Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, Our Math will begin Parikrama from Purnima, the full moon day. Damodar Vrat will start for 9th October. So fully loaded. 10th October is appearance of Srila Bhakti Gaurav Vaikhanas Goswami Maharaj. Amazing, Then 12th October is disappearance of Shri Srimad Bhakti Shri Puri Maharaj. So every day actually there's a festival almost. Kartik is jam-packed with so many festivals. Hare Krishna. So thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Marsh, for all that.
Anangam
Prabhu. Jai Diwani, please. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Shishi Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Radha Vinoda Bihari Jiki Jai Om Vishnu Parashtotara Shata Shishimad Bhakti Vidanta Vishnu Deti Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Om Vishnu Parashtotara Shata Shishimad Bhakti Vidanta Dandi Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Om Vishnu Parashtotara Shata Shishimad Bhakti Vidanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Nityalila Pravishtom Vishnu Parashtotara Shata Shishimad Bhakti Vidanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai
Jai
Vishnu Parashtotara Shata Shishimad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Ki Jai Nityalila Pravishtom Vishnu Parashtotara Shata Shishimad Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Nityalila Pravishto Param Bhagavata Pravar Shishila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Nityalila Pravishta Shishila Sachidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai Nityalila Pravishta Vaishnava Sarvabhoma Shri Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Gaudiya Vedanta Acharya Shri Srila Baladev Vidya Bhushana Prabhu Ki Jai Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Ki Jai Srila Narottam Srinivas Shyamananda Prabhutraya Ki Jai Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhata Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Bhatas Raghunath Sat Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai Shri Swarupa Damodar Raya Ramananda Adi Shri Gaura Prasada Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Sukho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Antardvip Mayapur Shri Mantadvip Godrumadvip Madhyadvip Koladvip Ritudvip Janudvip Moda Drumadvip Rudati Patmakashi Navati Padam Ki Jai Shri Radha Krishna Gopal Gopi Govardhan Dvadash Vanatmakar Shri Vrajamandal Ki Jai Shri Radhakund Shamakund Ganga Yamuna Tulasi Bhakti Dev Ki Jai Shrimati Vrinda Devi Ki Jai Shri Purnamasi Yogamaya Ki Jai Shri Gopishwar Mahadev Ki Jai Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan Chakra Jiyu Ki Jai Shri Kshetar Mandal Ki Jai Sarva Vigna Vinashakar Shri Nrsimhadev Ki Jai Bhakta Pravashi Prahalad Maharaj Ki Jai Char Dham Ki Jai Char Sampradaya Ki Jai Char Char Ki Jai Akar Mataraj Shri Chaitanya Mat Ki Jai Shri Shri Keshav Ji Gaudiya Mat O Tat Sakamat Samoha Ki Jai ग्रंथराज श्रीमद भागवतम की जय श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय समगात भक्त वृंद की जय श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंद हरि हरि बोल
ताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल जय अनंत मोहन प्रभु जी की जय समस्त वैष्णव की जय हरे कृष्ण धन्यवाद हरे कृष्ण
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, thank you for attending today and joining.
Thank you.
So we also have...
Yes, there was a lot of devotees attended online class today. I'm very happy. It was very good attendance today. Because this is a very special day. There was one disciple, direct disciple of Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj. His name is Srila Bhakti Shekhar Gavasthanavi Maharaj. He lives in Tirupati and amazing devotee. So he also celebrated here. There was a feast here and many 60, 70 devotees attended. and we did the online one. So this is very good. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Maharaj, for all your time and giving us your mercy
Hare Krishna.
in
Hare
such
Krishna.
low time. So, dear devotees, we'll see you all tomorrow
Yes.
for Charitam Lilamrita class, same time. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Yes,
Dhanavad.
and future festivals also will plan. Those any appearance day.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Future
Vanshika
festivals also will try Didi like this. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Ji Maharaj, yes, we can do future. You can same time. You can just do the posters and then I'll send it out.
Okay, Didi. Hare Krishna. That's all.
Thank you,
Hare
Maharaj.
Krishna.
Thank you, dear devotees. Hare Krishna. Dhanavad.